Thank you, everybody. Welcome to District 18 50th anniversary. So tonight, I'd like to welcome up to the lectern our Toastmaster of the Day, Taz and Deb. Do the shaky thing.
This one still on? No. Is this one still on? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the District 18 50-year celebration and gala. Woo! Imagine 1966. District 18 was formed. District 18, as with the rest of the world, encountered many historic events, some of which our two of our past district governors have gone on to become past international presidents, Mr. Ted Wood and Dr. Dilip Abhyankar. District 18 also had two members become world champions of public speaking. In 1976, Mr. William Johnson, and in 1999, Craig Valentine. We have also witnessed many other members compete at international speech and hit the final stage, namely, there's a whole bunch of them, but most recently, Aaron Beverly, who came in second last year. We have seen the enrollment opened up to women in 1973 and is now, in my opinion, the only organization in the world, bar none, that is all-inclusive. It does not matter what religion you hold. It doesn't matter what skin color you have. It doesn't matter where you're from. Toastmasters is non-political and non-sectarian. Thank you, everybody.
To know where we are, we must acknowledge where we have been, and to recognize those here with us tonight who have carried the torch for all of us. Please stand as I call your name. Past District Governor Carmen Lee Powell. Past District Governor Jim Buck. Past District Governor Oscar Zalamia. Past District Governor Lynn Ray Adams. Past District Governor Clyde Middleton. And our immediate past District Director Lisa Sladen Thompson. Thank you. You can be seated.
Please close your eyes and contemplate my words. As we celebrate this anniversary, let us remember our own past and the people that have helped us on our journey, and if possible, reach out to them to say thank you. And while we say thank you, let us remember that those who have served, past and present, that fought to secure our rights and freedoms. Also, please remember that we are Toastmasters, and we carry with us the knowledge and the skills we have learned wherever we are. As JFK stated, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that our highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them.
Please stand as you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In Toastmasters, we have the opportunities to meet a lot of different people. One such person we met on a stage very similar to this one. We competed against each other, and we became great friends. Please help me welcome our District Director, Mervyn Behrman.
Ladies, gentlemen, others, welcome. We are thrilled to have you with us. This is the 50th anniversary of District 18. Now, to put that into perspective, in 1966, if you were to go to your local Ford dealer and find a 6-cylinder Mustang, that vehicle would cost you $2,175. I assure you it does not cost that today. Because in 2016, I had the opportunity to visit the local Ford dealer, examine a 6-cylinder Mustang, and find a price exactly 1,000% greater. $21,000 American. Tell me the world hasn't changed. Tell me the world of dial phones, manual transmissions, and dial radios corresponds to what you hear today. And to speak to that, it gives me great personal pleasure to introduce to you, as our introductory speaker, the county executive for Anne Arundel County, Maryland. This gentleman is from Crofton, Maryland, just down the road. Yay! Hoorah! And without giving away too many secrets, yes, I voted for him. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great personal pleasure to introduce to you Steve Shue.
Thank you for that nice introduction, Mervyn. I appreciate it very much. And congratulations to all you Toastmasters on your 50th anniversary. That's an incredible achievement. And it's a great organization, too. I've learned a little bit about it this evening. Integrity, service, integrity, respect, service, right? IRS, easy to remember. Excellence, not IRS. And I must tell you, this is a little intimidating to be speaking in front of an organization that has built itself around the very concept of excellence in public speaking. And I do hope Dana and Pearl will give me a passing grade. I feel like I've been asked to play golf with Tiger Woods with this introduction. So I know we have a few people from Anne Arundel County here in the house. How many do we have? Raise your hand. All right. Well, that's good, because I know we have people from everywhere. There's a guy here from Jeff, I think, from Connecticut. Goodness, Delaware, Connecticut, Virginia, all over the place. That's fantastic. And for those of you that are from out of town, I encourage you to move here as soon as possible, because it's a wonderful place. In fact, I love to brag about it whenever I have an opportunity, whenever I'm visiting with people from out of town. This is a really special place. I grew up here 50 years ago. Anne Arundel County was a very remote backwater, very small population, teeny tiny economy, really nothing going on here in Anne Arundel County other than growing tobacco. But in recent years, the county has emerged to become one of the most important, if not the most important jurisdiction in the state of Maryland. Our population is now 560,000 people. We are about to surpass the population of the city of Baltimore, believe it or not. And our economy is approaching $40 billion, one of the largest local jurisdiction economies in the entire state. And most importantly, many, if not a preponderance, of the state's most critical assets, and many of our national assets are located here in Anne Arundel County. Fort Meade, the third largest Army installation in the United States. NSA, people who are out there in the, wherever they are, in cyberspace, keeping us safe. Our capital city of Annapolis, Maryland's only major airport, BWI Thurgood Marshall, and 530 miles of Chesapeake Bay shoreline. We are the water people. That's more shoreline than any other jurisdiction in the state of Maryland. I feel very fortunate to be the elected leader of a wonderful jurisdiction like this. And speaking of leadership, your organization is crucial to helping leaders across our country be effective in their jobs. In my view, effective communication is an indispensable element of effective leadership, whether it's in politics, the boardroom, the classroom, it doesn't matter, anywhere. If you can't communicate, you cannot lead. It is impossible. Now, to be an effective leader, you have to have certain ingredients at your fingertips. You have to have a vision. You've got to know where you want to go. You have to be organized. You have to have a plan. And finally, you have to follow through. You can't just say, here's what we want to do, and here's how we ought to do it, and then never follow up. That doesn't work either. But every one of those three components, vision, organization, and follow-up, require effective communication. What's a vision without the ability to communicate it to others? What is organization without an ability to help people understand their role in the greater enterprise? And how can we follow up if we don't communicate properly so that people are held accountable and know what their responsibilities are? So you contribute to all of that and to help making leaders in every part of our society more effective at what they do, and I appreciate it. All these skills taught by the men and women of Toastmasters should be celebrated. We appreciate your great work. Congratulations to District 18, and again, welcome to Anne Arundel County. Thank you, God bless, and enjoy tonight's celebration. Thank you. Thank you.
For those of you who are not aware, we just did a magic trick. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Steve. Unfortunately, he has another appointment, but not to fear. We have a highly qualified individual to come and speak to you right now. How many of you read your agenda? Good, well over 40%. I'm pleased to see that. Ladies and gentlemen, this speaker truly does not need any introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's in the agenda. It says I need to. I met this individual in 2011 in Las Vegas. Admittedly, I was part of a thundering herd of people charging the stage in order to speak to him. And it's therefore highly unlikely he recalls that I was even there. That's okay, because the words he provided has helped guide me through my entire Toastmasters career. No question, no discussion, no debate. I was reintroduced to him in 2015. Again in Las Vegas. Yes, there's a trend there. Where he provided further clarification, further guidance, and even more an inspiration for everyone in the room. It gives me great personal pleasure to introduce a man that I would like to call my friend, the 1992 world champion of public speaking, that's on this planet and everywhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Lamont. Danny?
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I don't think you need a mic.
Microphone. Oh, of course, I need a mic.
I'll put this one here.
So maybe use this one.
Whichever's better for you.
That one's not on. This one's on. I think I should use the one that's on. What do you think? And that's my friend and assistant, Erica Bailey. About a year after I started working for the California Department of Social Services, I had a hallway conversation with one of my colleagues. He shared with me the reaction of my colleagues when they learned that the chief judge had hired a blind man. It was 1981 that Ronald Reagan became the President of the United States, and with his administration, changes in the welfare laws. And because changes occurred in the welfare laws, there was an increase in the number of administrative hearings that were requested. Because of the increase, they needed to hire additional judges. The office hired 4 new judges. I was one of them. Don was sharing with me, he said, Dana, when Larry first told us that he had hired a blind man, we went into his office in force to say, what have you done here? Why have you hired a blind man? We need someone who can help us carry the load, not someone whose load we're going to have to carry. And then he said, but Dana, I want to tell you, you are extraordinary. I said, no, sir, I am not. I am ordinary. You expected less than ordinary, so when you got ordinary from me, you thought you got something extra. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you that there are people who are extraordinary. And they are not extraordinary because they can perform beyond what someone else expects them to do. They are extraordinary for this reason. Or may I say these reasons. Number 1, they're willing to excel. Number 2, they're willing to take responsibility. Number 3, they will revise their approach. And number 4, they will ask for help. I want to talk about the extra in extraordinary. Excel being EX, take responsibility is the T, revise your approach is the R, and ask for help, the A. This is the extra that turns an ordinary individual into an extraordinary individual. First is the willingness to excel. And for me, excellence is not about trying to be perfect. Excellence is about committing yourself to constant improvement. In my book, The Excellence Book, 104 Principles for Living and Working, principle number 2 says, excellence demands that you do your best, not that you be the best. The difference between the two is that in order to be the best, you have to constantly look at what other people are doing and try to outdo other people. And then seek the recognition from someone else that you surpass everyone else. That is to be the best. I myself am not interested in what other people think that I am capable of doing and whether or not I am the best. It is more important for me to know that I have done my best, that I have put forth the greatest effort that I can possibly put forth on an assignment that I'm asked to do. Now, I want you to know that when they asked me to give this presentation on extraordinary, they said, we want you to do a workshop. Now, for me, workshop means that I am not going to be the only one talking. I am going to give the audience here a chance to interact. That's what a workshop is all about. But I also then acknowledge that in a 30-minute time slot, it's kind of difficult to ask some Toastmasters to help me out in this presentation. In fact, I've had a chance to meet 15 or 20 of the members of District 18, and I am positive that if I want to complete this within 30 minutes, I'm going to have to do it on my own. So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to share with you the story of how I became committed to excellence. And it was the responsibility of a neighbor of mine, Maud Riley. Maud Riley treated me in a way different than did other people. While other people saw a handicap, Maud saw a handyman to have around. I mean, if I could call myself a man at the time. I mean, I was 14. And I used to go to Maud's house frequently because I liked the fact that she treated me in a different way. I liked the fact that she treated me as though I can do. Of course, not very many people in the neighborhood knew and understood while I was going to Maud's house. Maud had a daughter who was 6 days younger than I am. So they had assumed that I was going to see Sandy. But I was interested in the mother. And when I'd go to Maud Riley's house, she would give me jobs to do. If Maud was in the kitchen washing dishes, I'd go in and she'd say, Dana, you want to wash or you want to dry? When Maud was out in the yard working in the flower beds, for example, she'd say, okay, first of all, we're going to pull weeds. Now, let me show you where the weeds are. This is what I want you to pull. And then later on, she'd give me a pair of pruning shears and said, let me show you how to clip these rose bushes. One day I went to Maud's house, and I knew exactly what she was doing. As I approached the door, I could sense that it was open, and I could smell paint. So I stepped into the doorway, and I said, you know, Maud, it seems that you're pretty busy here painting, and I'll come back when things are less busy. She said, oh, don't go. I have a job for you. And she showed me where the pan of paint was. She put a roller in my hand. She says, here's the stepladder here. I'd like for you to paint the ceiling. I'm a mathematician. I have always loved math. I love geometry. I figured out this is a rectangular ceiling. Here's a roller about so wide. I will paint in strips all until the ceiling is completely covered. If I missed a spot, Maud would point it out to me. And once I finished the ceiling, I worked with her in doing the walls, etc. After we finished painting the front room of our house, by the way, it wasn't a back room, it was a room that people were going to see. I asked Maud why she had me to begin with the ceiling. She said, before you came, I was painting the ceiling, and as I was looking up, paint was splattering in my face. She said, I figured you could do it and you wouldn't have to look up. every time Maud Riley gave me a job to do, she would quote a poem. She would say, Dana, if a job is once begun, leave it not until it's done. Be the task great or small, do it well or not at all. And at age 14, that sunk in. That was me. Do it well or not at all. Do it well or not at all. So no matter what task I was assigned, no matter what I was asked to do, my responsibility to myself was to do it well or not at all. And that's when I became committed to the notion of excellence. So when I took that job as an administrative judge with the Department of Social Service, it was important for me to understand what it is they wanted me to do. But I realized that in doing it, I had to give my best performance, do it well or not at all. Not only, though, did I want to know step by step, action by action, what I'm supposed to do as an administrative judge, but tell me what the goal is. What do you want to accomplish? Because I may figure out a way to do it differently that may be better than the way it had been done. Do it well or not at all. So the first element of being extraordinary is to excel. That is to focus on giving your best performance, not seeking to be the best. And do it well or not at all. Now, tomorrow morning, I'm going to talk a little bit more about excellence. I don't want to spoil it for you tonight. How many are going to be here tomorrow morning? Say, oh, yeah. They're raising their hands. Like it's going to help this blind guy. All right, so you're going to be there tomorrow morning. Good. Who here tonight will not be there tomorrow morning? Say, oh, yeah. Uh-oh, there was one voice, oh, yeah. A kind of weak voice, didn't want to, no, I don't want people to know I'm not going to be here. Okay, so most of you will be here, so you'll hear me. I will focus 45 minutes on the keynote tomorrow morning on excellence, so we'll leave it as it is right now. The second point to extraordinary is to take responsibility. Take responsibility. Taking responsibility means that you won't make excuses. I became blind when I was 4 years old. I was running backwards. I fell on the back of my head, and it caused retina detachments. They didn't discover that right away. Most immediately was the injury to the head. I was taken to the doctor. They fixed that up and sent me home. It was my mother that discovered that something else was wrong because I started bumping into the wall and bumping into furniture that I knew was there. I had known it was there. So my mother said something else is wrong. Took me back to the doctors, and that's when they examined my eyes and discovered retina detachments in both eyes. So I had surgery to restore sight in the right eye, and I was able to see for a little while with the right eye. In fact, I saw well enough that I went to elementary school and with my brothers and sisters. I have a twin sister. Didn't want her to outdo me in any way. I was in and out of the hospital when I should have been in kindergarten. So when I started school, they wanted to put me in kindergarten while they were putting my twin sister in first grade. I was having nothing of that. So I insisted that I had to go into first grade, and I made a donkey of myself enough that they let me go into first grade with my twin sister. And I was able to read small print for the first grade, and somewhere between first and second grade, I lost some of that sight in the right eye, and I had to read large print. So I went to a different school, a school that had what they called sight conservation classes. They had me to read large print, and I did that through second, third, In the middle of 4th grade, I lost some more of that sight in the right eye. I couldn't read the large print books anymore. They kept me in the school till the end of the year, but the following year they sent me to a school to learn Braille. And so I went to Francis Blinn in Hollywood, and I learned Braille, and I did okay. And went through school, junior high. Junior high school was a regular public school with a Braille department. We had about 18 blind students in the junior high school, and then high school similarly. I was able to see colors until I was 16 years old. And then I was able to see light until age 24. 24 is when I lost all ability to see. Now, I give you this information because invariably I find that people want to know, but they're afraid to ask. I understand there was some Toastmasters last night asking Erica all the questions about, see, I told on you. You should keep that in mind, though, because that means Erica told on you, too. Children will ask. Adults won't. They think it's improper to ask. I mean, I remember I was walking down the street one day, walking from having gotten off the bus from going to somewhere, work or visiting a friend or whatever, and I'm walking home, and I'm walking down the street, and little kids running, hey, are you blind? Are you blind? And the parents trying to grab their arm, like, shh, shh, shh. She's like, they're going to reveal some secret I don't know already, you know. So it's important to know, and I'll share that information, that how I became blind. I will also share the information that I try not to allow blindness to be an excuse. It is too easy to say, I can't do it because I'm blind. I wouldn't do it because there were plenty of people all around me who said, he's blind, he can't, he's blind, he can't. So I had to take the opposite approach. I had to believe that I can and not listen to those people who said, he's blind, he can't. So if you want to get me to do something, all you have to say is, he's blind, he can't. And I'm going to prove you wrong. If you ever hear me say, I can't do something, that should be translated into, I don't want to do something. You have to take responsibility and not make excuses, and I try my best not to make excuses, but sometimes the temptation is strong. In law school, they like to call on you by seating chart. We had any lawyers in the room say, oh, yeah. We do? Really? See, no, I'm excited about this. This is District 18. I'm going to put this on the calendar. District 18, 50th anniversary. The lawyers acknowledged they were in the room. Usually, usually they don't. You know, I say, are there any lawyers in the room? And the room is just perfectly silent. Nobody. So I'm going to share this lawyer joke with you. Actually, I'm not. You know, we have a humor session at my Toastmasters club, and they would always say, oh, Dana's back. Let's tell the lawyer jokes. Dana's here now, right? And I said, go ahead, tell the lawyer jokes, because I'm a judge. I don't hear anybody telling judge jokes, right? And so this person says, what do you call a lawyer with an IQ of 47? I said, I don't know what. He said, Your Honor. Okay, so that's a side note. Let me get to my, So I was in law school, and the teacher called me. I was sure it was my name, though it didn't. Well, anyway, he said, Dana Lamon? And I said, okay, that's close. Can you tell us the facts in Harvey v. Baxendale? I said, sir, I am unable to tell you the facts in Harvey v. Baxendale. I am blind. I purchased the books. I had to purchase 2 copies. I sent them to the Recording for the Blind to have them recorded. They haven't been sent back to me yet. He said, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Will you let me know when the books come? And I thought to myself, Are you kidding me? You're not going to call on me until the book comes? That was 1974. And as far as he knows, I am still waiting for that book. Sometimes the temptation is strong to make excuses, but the extraordinary person will take responsibility and not make excuses. Here's what happens when you make excuses: you give yourself a license to quit or not even bother to try. I started when I was doing professional speaking. I would send packages, press packets out, time and time again. Great conversation on the telephone about how they'd be interested in my topic. And then when I send the press packet with my photo, I would never hear from them again. And I had some friends say, well, maybe it's because you're black. But I wouldn't use that as an excuse. Maybe it's because I'm black. But if I conclude that the reason that I didn't get chosen for that engagement is because I'm black, I would never try again, because I'm still going to be black next year. Unless I do what Michael Jackson did. And then, so I conclude that I did not do an effective job of letting them know that I would be their best choice for the gig. What that made me do then is to sit and think of other ways I might market myself the next time I contact that agency. You have to take responsibility if you want to be that extraordinary person and not make excuses. The third thing that you have to be willing to do is to revise your approach. Sometimes you may have the right approach and you just have to keep trying it. I call that persistence. So you want to punch a hole in the wall, you just keep punching and punching and punching until that hole is in the wall. Sometimes what you need to do is change your approach. Punching a hole in the wall might not be the right thing to do. What we ought to do is go to the door over there and walk around to the other side of the wall. That might be the better approach. I call that perseverance. You persevere toward the goal, but you change the approach. Persistence is you keep the same approach, you just keep hitting it over and over again until you get what you want. You have to decide, is this the situation where it's best to persist, or is it best to persevere? But you've got to be willing to revise your approach if the circumstances dictates that. So let me tell you a quick little story about my son when he was 2 years old about revising the approach. You'll get the message clearly from the story. I came home from work, and my wife said, we've got a problem. I said, what's the problem? She said, Anton's going outside. Anton was just under 2 years old at the time. I said, how can he go outside? Can he reach the doorknob? Said, yes, and his older brother and sister are outside, and he wants to go outside. So if he stands on his tiptoe, he can reach up just high enough to curl his fingers around that leverage handle and then drop on his flat feet and pull the handle down and open the door. I said, okay. That's not a problem, Jackie, because there's a deadbolt 6 inches above that. Lock the deadbolt. 2 weeks later, I come home. She says, we got a problem. I said, what's the problem? She said, Anton's going outside. I said, I thought we agreed that you would lock the deadbolt to keep him from going outside. She said, I did. I said, well, how is he going outside? She said, do you remember the chair you bought him for Christmas? Anton's taking the chair to the door. When he's standing on the chair, he can reach high enough, 6 inches higher. He can turn the deadbolt knob and then move the chair to the side and do his little action with the leverage handle. I was 38 at the time. I figured I'm not going to let a 2-year-old outsmart me. So I went to the hardware store and I bought a double-cylinder lock. I installed the double-cylinder lock, put the key in my pocket, and said, now let me see you get outside. So I was home this time, and we couldn't find Anton. We were looking for him all over the place. We were calling, Anton, Anton, we went upstairs. Anton in each room. Anton, we started looking under the bed. We figured he's playing a game with us. He's not under the bed. We looked in the closet. We got pretty desperate, and if you were there to witness it, you'd realize that we got pretty desperate because we started opening cabinet doors. We opened the refrigerator. And calling Anton, and he's not responding, and we started to panic because a parent who can't find their 2-year-old will panic. And I was headed toward the telephone to call law enforcement. We need help in finding our 2-year-old. We can't find him. And as I approached the phone, it rang, and I answered. This is Dana Lamont. And it was my mother-in-law who lived 2 doors away. She said, I thought you should know that I have a 2-year-old here. He's in a diaper and a t-shirt, and he's got the garage door opener in his hand. So Anton revised his approach. There was something that he wanted. And no matter what obstacles were put in his way, he figured out a way to get to it. That's the lesson here. The extraordinary person knows what they want and will revise the approach as necessary to get what they want. And finally, the extraordinary person will ask for help. This one is very important because this was the hardest thing for me. As I adjusted to the life of blindness, I wanted to demonstrate my independence. So asking for help was really tough. Like, I don't want to ask for help. I can do it myself. When I took my mobility training, in fact, I resisted the whole thing about being blind so much that when they first offered mobility training and said, well, Dana, we can only put a limited number of students in this training, and we've decided to put you, I said, I don't want to take that training. So they gave it to someone else. And Caroline would come back and tell me about how much fun it was. I said, I want to go mobility training. So when an opening was there, they let me go. And the hardest thing for me, because they would always give an assignment that required that you ask, you walk down the street and you ask someone for help. And that was just so hard for me. In fact, what I found out is if you go to the corner, your blind guy goes to the corner and he stands there and the traffic signal, it changes green, red, green, red. And you just stand there. Eventually someone will offer you help, So that was my way out of things. Is to just look lost and you get help. So my teacher insisted that I learn to ask for help, so she always gave me an assignment. So this particular day, she said, Dana, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go to the Broadway department store. That was going to be easy for me. I'm calculating in my head, done that before. I want you to find the tie department. Uh-oh, haven't done that before. After you find the tie department, I want you to come out of the Broadway department store, and I want you to go to the Pantages Theater and find the ticket office. Ooh, I have no clue where the Pantages Theater is. And after you find the Pantages ticket office, then I want you to meet me here at the Orange Julius, and I'll buy you an Orange Julius. I could find the Orange Julius. There was a certain smell about the Orange Julius. You could find it. And I mean, it was easy. So the hard part was going to be tie department and the Pantages Theater. So I went to the Broadway department store. This was when there was a Broadway department store. And for those of you who may be familiar with the Los Angeles geography, this is at the corner of Hollywood and Vine. So I went to the Broadway department store. I walked in. I heard a clerk, go over here at the cash register. I said, excuse me, can you tell me where the tie department is? She says, it's in the basement. You just follow the escalator down to the basement. It'll be straight in front of you. Okay, great. I could listen to the sounds and figure out where the escalator is. I went down the escalator, found the tie department, turned around, came back up, went out to the Broadway department store, and I said, okay, coming out of the store, Pantages Theater. Do I go left? Do I go right? I don't know. I don't know where it is. I decide to go out, and I hear click, 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 click. I said, okay, it's a woman in her heels. All right, I'm going to follow her and ask her, click, click. And the faster I walked, the faster she walked. The faster I walked, the faster she walked. I said, okay, that's not going to work. She's running away from me. So I turned around the other way. I heard click, click, click. I said, okay, good. This one is walking slowly, and she's walking toward me. So I come up, and that time I'm even with her. I say, excuse me, can you tell me where the Broadway department store is? She said, no, Dana, but can you tell me, no, excuse me. I said, can you tell me where the Pantages Theater is? She said, no, Dana, but can you tell me where the Broadway department store is? Yes, it was another person learning to use their cane. So that click, click, click I heard was the tapping of the cane. And she won because I knew where the Broadway department store was. I said, you're right in front of it. But she didn't know where the Pantages Theater was. So I went to the corner and looked lost until someone offered help. Asking for help was really tough for me. But what I have learned is when you ask for help, you can do so much more than what you can do on your own. So very often I have to find myself swallowing my pride and being willing to ask for help. Those are the 4 characteristics of the extraordinary person. The willingness to excel and improve on your performance, to take responsibility for what you do or what has happened, to revise your approach when it's necessary to do so, and to ask for help because you can do so much more when someone is willing to help. The extra of extraordinary is not the difference between what you do and the low expectations that others may have of you. The extra and extraordinary is your ability to imagine what you are capable of doing and then put forth the effort to do even better than that. Happy anniversary, District 18. Thank you.